everyone, I'm Allie Buchman with the Potomac Bead Company, and I am going to do this Diamond Duo, that's a hard one to say fast, Diamond Duo bracelet for you today. This features, the word diamond is just going to be said a lot in this video, the Diamond Duos. The Diamond Duos are a new 2-hole bead that has a hole at each end of the elongated, almost kite shape, I should say, almost like a marquee diamond. They have a point at the top, and that's just on one side, almost like a silky bead. We're going to be using a bunch of these as we go. For each little kite section that you're doing, each little diamond, you're going to use 4 of your Diamond Duo beads here. I've used 11 of the Diamond Duo sections of the diamond creation. So you're going to need 44 of those. That's more than is in one of our 9-gram tubes. So when you're looking at that, you'll be able to get more done. The bracelet will come out to be right about 7 inches. If you need it to be longer, you're going to need a couple more of those beads. For the Diamond Duos, if you need any of these materials, we'll do a little drop down here on the left side to links to all of these materials that you can shop with me online. Again, to start out this Diamond Duo bracelet, we're going to start with the Diamond Duos. And this color that I'm featuring is the Purple Iris in the Diamond Duos. In addition to that, I'm highlighting that purple color with the Pastel Lila RounDuo. And if you end up with 11 of the diamonds that you're working on here, you're going to need about 20 to 22 of your RounDuos. You can extend it a little bit further without doing another diamond by doing another set of your RounDuos. I'm closing the whole bracelet off with one of our faceted crystal buttons, and this is the magic blue color, which actually matches really nicely to some of the tones in that purple iris. In addition to my faceted button here, I'm using a lot of 11-0 seed beads. These are in the light bronze color, so the metallic light bronze color of the Miyuki 11-0 seed bead. To string the whole thing together, I'm going to be using 2 needles, and I have 2 size 10 beading needles here that you're going to be working with in order to thread your .006 wildfire beading thread, which I am using about 5 to 6 feet of, depending on how long, again, you want your bracelet to be. You could also do this bracelet in a necklace form where you bring it to a V in the front. So this could be one side, and then you could V it in the other direction as well. With there's 2 needles, it's easy to change direction. So that's a little challenge for you guys to try out. In order to make it easier to thread my needles, I have either a bent needle nose or a straight, doesn't matter. You just want something that's flat on the inside. That helps to straighten out your thread to thread your needles, especially if you use a thread burner, which I like to use in order to cut through and burn down the ends of the thread. You can also get a really great cut on your thread when you're cutting that 5 feet by using some of the snip and slip pliers. They have a nice cut to them. Also, I'm working on a bead mat here, because I do the videos here on the bead mat. When I'm moving around, I like to use my bead on it board. And I have some super glue glue also handy. The super glue is going to be used to glue down some knots towards the end of the bracelet when you're finishing it off. To get started, we are using the Diamond Duos first, and going to start out with our button. So you want to pour out some of your seed beads and your Diamond Duos, and that will get us ready to get started with the actual start of this Diamond Duo bracelet. So to get started, once you have your needles on your thread, we're going to start with the button. I'm going to go and add 3 beads onto my needle. It doesn't matter which one, but we're going to let that drop down to the very bottom of the thread. At the same time, separate your needles and put your needles through one hole of your faceted button. Now you're going to go to the other hole of a faceted button. You want to make sure that you're directly beside or across from. You don't want to go beside. That way the button will hang evenly on the bracelet. If you go beside it, it'll hang off a little bit to the side, since we are only going to use 2 out of the 4 holes. Taking it to the bottom of my project then, and you can see it has a little picot trim to the back of that button. On the outside of the button, towards the back, we're going to get ready to add our Diamond Duos. To prepare for that, I'm going to use 3 11/0s of that light bronze on each needle. Now I get to go in and add 4 of my DiamonDuos in order to create my first diamond. When you're adding your DiamonDuos, you can, even if you want to, so you make sure they all face the same way, set up a little diamond on your bead mat. Then you know that the needles are going to go directly through your project. You're going to put through the first DiamonDuo 1 needle through each hole of the same DiamonDuo. Next, we're going to pick up 1 hole of the DiamonDuos that are most interior. Then we're going to go back and pick up this last DiamonDuo, 1 needle through the right hole, 1 needle through the left hole. What this is going to do is create that diamond right away and create that look right away. We're going to continue then adding space in between by adding some more 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to pick up 4 11/0 seed beads, 5 11/0 seed beads on each needle, the right and then the left, and let those drop back down next to my diamond. Once those are next to the diamond, I'm going to go in and repeat the pattern, adding another diamond in place. Again, you just want to make sure that when you're working with it here, my threads got a little tangled together. I'm going to make sure that my diamond and the facets all sit face up. So again, I'm going to bring my needles together, go through 1 of the DiamonDuos, then 1 DiamonDuo with the facets facing up on the right hand side, and 1 with those pressed facets on the left. To finish our diamond, we're going to do another DiamonDuo with 1 needle through the right and 1 needle through the left hole. Let those all drop down, and that creates our little second diamond section there. Continue adding your beads here. We're going to add our 5 seed beads and then more of our diamond faceted here DiamonDuos, so we can get that diamond shaped. Lots of diamond talk. So you're going to add 4 more DiamonDuos after those 5 seed beads, and we'll continue to build. So I now have my 11 diamonds made out of the DiamonDuos completed, and I'm going to get ready to make my loop for my faceted button. Once we do that, we'll come back down the project, add in some RounDuos, and then we have 1 more trip up and down. As I add here, I'm going to bring the end to a point. To do that, I'm just going to add 2 of my 11/0s on my right needle and 2 on the left. I'm then going to take 1 more 11/0 and I'm going to add both needles through the 11/0 in the same direction. That's going to create a bit of a V shape. The reason I'm doing this is because the V shape sits really nicely to create the loop for the clasp. Sometimes if there's a big enough opening on the one side of the loop for the clasp can still slide through. I'm now going to add about 30 beads to one of my needles. Doesn't matter if it's the right or the left because we're going to reinforce this loop anyway. So you're going to go in and add 30 if you're using the faceted cut button or the faceted buttons. And if you're using a regular cut button, you're going to add about 26. Once you have all of those added, let it drop down to the very base of the project. Now that those 30 beads are on, I'm going to come down through that same 1 11/0 that both our threads were going through. Give a nice pull because this is actually the base thread for the whole project. Likewise, I'm going to pick up my left needle and I'm going to reinforce this whole loop that I just did. So I had picked up all the beads with the right needle, now I'm going with the left needle and repeating through this whole loop. This is going to reinforce the loop, which is always where there's tension, right at the end of the bracelet. Also coming down that same 11-0 bead, I'm going to give a nice pull on both threads to make sure no additional thread is showing in the V's at the clasp or at the loop of the clasp. Once those are both through the 11-0s, I'm going to separate the needles. One needle is going to go through the two 11-0s here at the top and come out. Likewise, the needle at the bottom is going to go through those two. Once we're there, we have to get to the top of our DiamonDuo bead here on the outer edge. To get to the top, we're going to add 4 more 11-0s to each needle. Once I have those 4 on, my needle is going to come from the loop to the very top open hole of the DiamonDuo at the bottom. Going to the top now, same thing, add 4 11s, and then go through that top bead. Now we're going to be ready to put in our RounDuos, which are going to kind of accent the top and then also give us another line and opening along the top to work with. To add the RounDuos, it's going to be very simple. We're going to do the same thing on the top as we are on the bottom. We are going to add 2 of our 11-0s, sew through a RounDuo, and add 2 more 11-0s. Sew through the top hole of the next DiamonDuo. And that's just going to let that RounDuo sit right there on the top. Here when we're ready to put on the RounDuo, I had those 2 on, then the RounDuo, and then the 2. I apologize, I forgot to do the connection down to the baseline. So it's going to be 3 of your 11-0s, a RounDuo, and 1 more 11-0. We're then going to grab the middle bead from the baseline of 5. So you're going to have 2, and then 1, and then 2. We're going to grab that middle bead there. That's going to pull that 11-0 right down next to that row of 5. I'm going to add 1 more 11 and then back through the RounDuo. That creates just that little tiny V in there. 3 more 11-0s go on and through the DiamonDuo. Again, 3 11-0s go on, put on a RounDuo, 1 11-0, sew back towards the loop through the middle of those 5 beads, add 1 more 11-0, so back through that base hole of the RounDuo. So we're only doing 1 hole right now of the RounDuo. Give a little tight yank and 3 more 11s go on and over to the next DiamonDuo. I'm going to do this a couple times on the right hand side and then we'll do it on the left hand side as well. I usually only like to put about 4 beads on before I go over and do it on the opposite side. That way it's not getting too bunched up on one side. So I'm going to do 2 more RounDuos on the right side and then I'll skip over and do them on the left as well. Now that I have 4 of my RounDuos here on the right side, I'm going to flip over and do it on the left. I'm going to turn it back to the back of the project, which shows the flat side of the DiamonDuos, just because it's easier for me to work with my right hand to put the RounDuos in. Because the RounDuos are only one-sided, because they're completely round, it's not going to matter which side or which hole you pick up first as we're working with this first hole of the RounDuo. Continuing putting 3 beads on, then my RounDuo, and then 1 bead, going back towards the loop with that 1 bead, adding a bead, and sewing back through the bottom hole of the RounDuo. It's basically circling around, just to add a little bit of variety in there. 3 more beads go on, back through the DiamonDuo. Continuing on, again, 3 11s go on, RounDuo gets picked up, 1 11 gets picked up, so back through that middle of the 5 beads, down towards the loop end, which is the end I'm coming from, 1 11-0 gets added on, and through the RounDuo. 3 more 11-0s, and through the top of the DiamonDuo. So again, I'm just continuing that from right to left. When you flip it over, you can start to see that pretty color combination working with that light bronze. I'm going to continue up the whole bracelet, adding in my RounDuo beads. Once you're done going down the sides with your RounDuo beads and adding in that little X, we're coming out the end of our last diamond of DiamonDuos. So we're going to repeat what we did on the other end by adding 4 beads to get back to our starting area here. I'm going to add 4 of my 11-0 seed beads, and then I'm going to sew through that initial 3 beads. At the same time, you want to make sure that you're sewing through the first of the 11-0s coming out of your button. Makes it easier to grab onto. I'm then going to sew down the other 2 in line, 1, 2. When I'm grabbing that 3rd bead, again, I'm trying to sew down the back of the button and out to the other side. Taking the other needle here, I'm going to repeat that, which is going to reinforce the clasp one more time. Add 4 beads, go through those 3 beads, out the top of the button and through that first bead. Once I'm there, I'm going to go over to the other 2 beads and down the button. Same thing that I just did on the other one. I'm going out then the 3 beads that are at the base of the button. If you need to sometimes, if it's a tight space, you can actually turn your project to the side and that'll help get you in there better. With this needle, I'm going to continue through those 3 beads and through all of the seed beads that are there on the top to the DiamonDuo to get started and ready for my last pass down the project. On the other side, now that those 4 beads are there, same thing, I'm going to go through those 4 beads and come out ready to start the last pass down the project, adding to that empty hole of the RounDuo bead. Now what we're going to do is frame out the RounDuo by going through the DiamonDuo, adding 4 beads, 4 11-0 seed beads, and sewing through the empty hole of the RounDuo bead. Again, add 4 beads, sew through the DiamonDuo. Coming out the DiamonDuo, add 4 beads, sew down the empty hole of the RounDuo, and then add 4 more beads. So the ending is very simple, just creating that last little curvature around the RounDuos, adding 4 beads between the RounDuos and the DiamonDuos. Give a tight pull after each beaded section that you add, and that will decorate it. 4 more, and keep going. Once you do this on the right hand side, you're going to do it on the left hand side as well. Again, I usually work a little bit at a time, and that will help to finish off your awesome little bracelet. So just to show you, I'm getting towards the end. I did unfortunately run out of thread. I figured I'd stop at this point, show you how the look is of this DiamonDuo bracelet, and show you how to add more thread in case you do run out. So I have a piece of short green thread here, and I've actually put 2 needles, 1 on each end of the thread. What I'm going to do is go into this project further back and basically separate out the needles. The nice thing when you work with 2 needles is you can either tie these threads onto the new thread, or I could have snaked these threads back to the same side, tied those together, and then started with a new thread. Because they're already separated and I was stubborn and thought maybe I could make it, they are separated and I'm not going to be able to get them back together easily. So I am going to tie them on to the new thread one side at a time. To start getting my thread in place to be able to add it, I'm going to start in between this left side of this DiamonDuo. To start on the left side, the needle that's right here on, or the right side, the needle that's on the right side here is going to go through the DiamonDuo and those 2 beads that sit on the side. The left needle is going to go through the other hole of the DiamonDuo and through those 2 beads. This is going to have a little bit of thread show in between that DiamonDuo on the side. I'm going to push that down and really pull from side to side. Once that thread, and you make sure it's even on the sides, once that thread is tucked in, when you lay your project down, you really can't see that thread, especially the more you work with it, the more it'll kind of work in between those 2 beads. I'm going to then bring my needle that's on the right side here, and I'm going to turn it so it comes up this side and comes out those beads. To do that, I've gone through those 2 beads, and now I'm going to go back the opposite way and sew in through the seed bead there, through these 3 seed beads here, and then I'm going to come up through those 4 seed beads that I just added before my RounDuo. My needle then will come out right where the thread end is from the previous thread. I'm just going to let that sit there until I get the other thread in place, and then I'll tie here and tie at the other space as well. On this side here, rather than going backwards because of where my thread ended, I'm going to actually advance, going through that middle of my 5 beads from my initial row, up on the side of the seed beads here next to the RounDuo. Then I'm going to go through the DiamonDuo and right out where my thread ends. Once I get to those 2 places where the thread is ending, which you usually want to do before one of the larger beads, that way you don't recognize and see the thread connection, that knot as much. I have that there. So back to this right hand side after this RounDuo, I'm going to take the thread end that was already there and the new thread that I just added, and I am going to tie those together. Once I have those tied together, I'm just going to let them sit there. I do have my super new glue sitting here. If you want to and you leave a little bit more thread, you can always thread your tail back into the project. I'm simply going to glue and then burn my thread ends down, almost creating a stop of that thread. And now I'm going to continue beading the 4 beads in between each of my DiamonDuo second hole and my RounDuo second hole. On the other side, I'm going to repeat by the threads are coming right out on the side of that DiamonDuo, and I'm going to tie my knots. If you can, you want to do left over right, right over left, and get that square knot. I usually like to switch which hands I'm holding it in, because when I come that right over left, it kind of always twists me up. So if I switch hands, it accomplishes the same thing. But with this short thread, it's going to be easier just to tie it that way. Again, I have those 2 knots. You can either do 2 or 3, doesn't matter. And this is one of those bracelets also, as you're working, I'm kind of flattening it out. It fits exactly, and if you pull tight, you might get a little bit of puckering on the ends. So you don't want to pull super tight with this bracelet. I'm pushing towards the end to just let those beads relax so it lays nice and flat. As I'm working on this too, it would have looked nice if I switched some of the colors of beads, so you can get creative. It would have looked nice with a darker 11 on the outside and a lighter one on the inside as well, just to kind of highlight what's going on. Here on the sides, now that I have that thread added, I'm just going to continue with the DiamonDuo bracelet, adding my 4 seed beads. And one of the reasons that we're not cutting off the end of that thread and not gluing at this portion is because if you do want to go back and reinforce the bracelet at all or end your threads further in, sometimes by accident you can glue the hole shut of your beads, which is not going to be good in case you do need to get back through them. So I always wait to glue until the very, very end once I'm completely finished my product. When I get to the end where the last DiamonDuo and the thread is coming out of it, I'm going to reinforce my clasp by going up through all of those 6 seed beads that lay along the side, up through that middle seed bead, and then the whole way around my loop. If you wanted to, you could get fancy at this point and do peyote. You could add a second loop. Sometimes that looks neat depending on the shank of your button. And I'm just going to reinforce that whole loop. On the other side, same thing. I'm going to finish with my 11 O's coming off the side here, going through my RounDuo, and then going through that last DiamonDuo. Once I'm through the last DiamonDuo with this strand, I'm going to take my thread, go through all of those 6 seed beads on the side, and then come right out. The first side that I was working with, that right thread, I'm going to continue to go around the loop and then simply tie those 2 threads off right here at the end. My 2 threads are coming out below that 11O that it creates the little X at the start and finish. I'm going to take my needles off my thread here and tie those in about 3 square knots. Once I do that, again, if you would like to, you can sew back down your project a little bit, ending it with the thread further back, not right at the end. Again, I'm going to use a little bit of glue. If you notice I'm at the back of the bracelet, you don't see those facets towards the front. I always try to bring my thread to the back when I'm tying the knots, so it does appear, if you can see it at all, a little bit towards the back. Once I have those knots tied, I'm going to take my thread burner and burn those edges down a little bit and burn through that thread. I'm then going to take my super new glue, do a little bit of a dot right on there. A little bit goes a long way. Let that dry a fair amount, and then I'm going to go in and actually trim down the thread ends closer by using my thread burner. Here on this end where I have that one thread left that I tied on, again I'm going to burn down close. I do leave about a 1/16 of an inch there, so that way I can create a little bit of a stop bead. I'm just going to drop the glue down in between those beads and the RounDuo. Sometimes I'll blow the glue down a little bit into the hole. If you need to and you get too much on your bead, you can also just kind of tap it. I'm going to do it off to the side, but tap it down on your bead mat and get a little bit of glue. Pull it away quickly so it doesn't glue onto your bead mat. Once I have glue on these sections, I like to hold it off, but I'm holding it up so that way the glue does not dry onto the bead mat and your bracelet is stuck to the bead mat. Same thing on this other side where I had to add thread. When you add thread with 2 needles, it actually creates a nice easy connection point to add your thread. Again, kind of work that glue into that knot. It's dry enough now I can turn over to the very end and pick up. It's kind of hard to see on camera there. You can see a little bit of the thread end sticking up. I'm just going to take my thread burner, which I need to replace the battery, I can tell, and I'm holding down the little button here on the thread burner. I'm going to burn down those thread ends. Starting at the end, I'm actually putting pressure straight down on the thread. You may see a little bit of smoke rising. That is from usually the glue. You might smell a little bit of an odor too. I'm going to burn down all of those different connection points that I had. I'm burning off the rest of that thread, starting on the outer edge and burning it down. Again, I do like it to ball up just a tiny little bit because usually you can conceal that ball, and that also is going to prevent it from slipping through one of your beads. Even though the knot's there and glue's there, and try to be extra careful. Once you are done burning down your thread ends, you have your DiamonDuo bracelet completely finished in these pretty lilac and that pastel color. The button goes great with that. It has a great faceted look to go along with that faceted appearance of the Diamond Duos. The Diamond Duos have been a lot of fun to play around with, work with, and create simple but faceted looking and elegant designs, all with just that one bead, which has 2 holes. If you get a chance to pick up some of the Diamond Duos, they have been doing great for us. A lot of people have a lot of appeal for these because there are some great patterns coming out. We also have some free patterns on the website that you can download free with any purchase. If you want to stay connected with us, you want to purchase any of the materials for this bracelet, show us what you've done, you can also subscribe to this YouTube channel, and that will give you regular updates for the different projects that we do, the new product information, different product reviews that I do, so you can watch all the different videos. You can also interact with us on Facebook. You can join our beading and jewelry making group. Ask to join there to share your different designs, ideas, and all the fun stuff that you make and interact with us pretty much live. You can also get any of these materials at PotomacBeads.com and shop with me online. Again, there's a list of them at the beginning of the video and links to it, or right underneath this video here, there's a little button that says show more underneath the details of the video. You can click on there and get links to the exact projects that were used in this video. If you get a chance, get your hands on some of these Diamond Duos. They move quickly because they're a bigger bead, and it's really fun to see how they line up perfectly on that wonderful angle together. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone, and enjoy playing with these Diamond Duos, making the DiamonDuo bracelet.